Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being here. My name is Bill. I am responsible for product marketing for the web version of Office, as well as the Office mobile apps as well. And this week was particularly busy and a big week on the mobile side of things. I feel like it's soaked up a lot of my attention with us introducing the new Office app, which has been off to a really great start. We're really excited about all the enthusiasm and momentum there. Unfortunately, the iOS beta is full, but there's still plenty of room on the Android side, and there's actually no limit there, so we encourage you to go check that out if you haven't. But I'm here to talk to you about the web, and I'm actually really excited about that. I've been working on the web a little bit longer than the mobile side, and so it's something that's near and dear to my heart, and something that I'm really excited to talk to you about, and I'm really glad that you guys are all here. So let's go ahead and get started. So I have several demos to show to you today, but I really want to start first by telling you a little bit more about why we're focused on the web and why this is such a big deal for us. I know that sometimes Microsoft sort of gets written off on our investments on the web. They think maybe we're not that serious about it. Maybe it's something that we're really just focused on the desktop. But there may have been a time where there was some truth to that, but those days are definitely heading backwards or in the past. So we are definitely interested and super committed to the web, and it's a really important platform for us to keep investing in as we go forward. So as we keep going ahead, like one of the reasons why we're so interested in the web is not just for the sake that it is the web. It's because we are committed to empowering all of you to do the work the way that you want to do it. And so we believe that you need to have a powerful solution on the web in order to have a complete overall solution. So we want to be super strong on the desktop, we want to be super strong on the web, and we want to be super strong on the mobile. And we really believe that we need to have excellent solutions in each of those places in order to empower everybody to do what they want to do. And as a result, we've really seen things take off. I mean, we've seen huge growth there. We're doing a lot of, we're up to hundreds of millions of, or not hundreds of millions, lots and lots of millions. I can't disclose specific numbers yet, but lots and lots of millions of users using the web on a monthly active, or on monthly active users on a monthly basis, as well as thousands of organizations that are using this all the time. So it's really becoming an important platform as we go forward. But I'd like to be thinking a little bit more about why the web and what's really happening here. There's plenty of reasons, but I've tried to focus in on the top two for three of the most important audiences here. So first of all, on the end user side of things, they love it because there's no software to install or update, meaning that they can get in and get started really quickly. They can move between devices and computers really easily, and it's the same familiar Office experience that they know, and so there's a lot of portability in there. Same time, for a lot of people, it's a personal preference. There's a new generation of people that are really accustomed to using software in a browser. They've never used email in anything other than a browser before, and for those people, we want to make sure that they have the solutions that they expect. For organizations, it's also really useful for them to deploy and manage. So super easy to get people up and going. It's got a lot of benefits in terms of continuity of service. So if somebody loses a device or, heaven forbid, has it stolen, that doesn't mean a big loss of downtime. All they have to do is you could borrow a machine, they get started another machine, and keep going, and the work is still secure. At the same time, too, we're seeing a lot of really good behaviors in terms of users adopting the cloud, which is another thing that I know a lot of IT administrators are really interested in. And so we're seeing people storing stuff in the cloud, collaborating with others through the cloud, and the web is helping to promote that. And then on the Microsoft side of things, first of all, there's the customer demand side of things. We're seeing more and more customers asking us about the web solution and trying to adopt different practices, or sometimes it's even a facilities thing. So we're getting a lot of questions there, so we want to make sure we have a good solution. But aside from that, there's actually some selfish reasons as well. So on the engineering side, we've actually found there's a lot of advantages in how we develop for the web, and particularly things like AI and collaboration that rely on a lot of iterations and a lot of machine learning, real-time feedback. It really helps us to develop and innovate a lot more quickly on the web. So we actually seen the web becoming more and more of a point of emphasis for our engineering teams and how we develop software. And a lot of our new innovations are actually coming to the web first before they even make it to the desktop. So with that, I want to take a break, and we're going to go into the more exciting stuff. Take a break from the slides, and we'll get into some of the demos. So I'm going to switch over here. And this homepage here is office.com. Office.com is a super easy to remember URL. It's always your starting point for how you get started in the web. So you don't have to think about which is the homepage, where do I have to go somewhere different for Outlook or Word or Excel. It's always going to be in the same place. One thing, too, I should just mention, too, I think you've hopefully noticed by now, but I'm not calling this Office Online or Word Online. That is what it had been called for a while in the past, and part of the reason for that is that we are committed to making this a great platform. We don't want people to think of this as like the other version of Office, or sometimes people almost think of it as the not as good version. It's just Office, and whether you're using it through the web or through one of the desktop apps or on a mobile device, it's always Office, and it's got the same product truths behind it. And so we want to make sure that that you understand that. But anyway, so when we look at the office.com homepage, the first thing that you see is that we've got a lot of our easy access to our apps here. And if I click on all apps, I'll even get like the full list of everything that we do have available. The thing is, it doesn't just stop at Microsoft apps or the Office things. You can incorporate all of the line of business applications that are third party as well into here as well. You can create separate ones for different departments. You can really make this a very useful tool to be your one-stop shop for keeping people productive and getting the access to the things that they need. At the same time, we've started adding tips and tricks to the bottom to help people understand how to use the software, which we've seen a lot of really good feedback from. So going down the page a little bit, we've got a recommended section. It takes a look at what are some of the files that you've either used a lot, ones that have been shared with you, things that are probably some of the files you're more likely to be looking for when you come here. And it surfaces this right at the top to make this easy. On top of that, we've got a recent documents section. We've got, you're able to expand it, get down low. You can see who's been also in there, whether it's been shared or it's only you, like when they were updated. You can pin them to get your certain documents that you always want to have easy access to and come back to. Shared with me is actually one of my favorite things. I actually come in here all the time to do this because sometimes I think, did somebody send the email, or did this come up in an IM in Teams, or like where did this come from? As long as it's shared through the cloud, Office will pick this up and know it, and it becomes your one place to go to find this. And then at the bottom, we've got a little bit more about OneDrive and SharePoint and other ways to do that. But let's get into some of the documents. I'm going to start by going to this Word document that I know that is something that I'll need to work on, and so I pinned it to the home page, and then I come in here with one click. It begins to open up, and the first thing I notice when I take a look at this is that some things in here look a little bit different. I see here that there's this while you were away notification that came up, which means that the last time I was in here, since the last time I was in here, somebody else came in and did something else. And so I'm going to go and take a look at that. If you notice, there was a little bit of a blue dot there. And so I can quickly start to scan down and try to find where the blue dots were. If I hover over this, it'll start to tell me what exactly was the change that happened here. And so it makes things makes things really easy in terms of finding information and knowing exactly where the document was left off and what's happened since then. But on top of that, like it still is if I look at this document, I'm like, wait a minute, there's a lot more that went in here than I was expecting, and maybe it happened in a previous version, or I need to get back to an earlier thought, or I'm a little uncomfortable with kind of some of the recent changes, and I think I really need to see what the old version of the document was. There's a way to do that. So there's a few ways. There's a new feature that we have called version history that lets you go back in time and find different places of what is. Because really, this is a living document. This is what the document is now. But if I need to go back and see that, I can go click on here. I can find version history. This is the report name. In fact, I can even rename the report right now if I would like to. I could also go to File, Info, and find version history down here. But we also know that a lot of people aren't going to remember all this and might not even remember the name of the feature. So what we've done is we've created this search bar, which helps you search across a whole variety of topics. It helps you search within the app. It also helps you search for files. But in this case, I know I need to look for an older version of the document. I'm just going to type in old version, and right there you can see it starts coming up with version history. Maybe I don't even know it's a version thing, so maybe I'm going to call it file history. Again, the same thing, it still figures out what I'm looking for and gives it to me. So when I click on this, it's going to bring up a list of documents here on the side that says, shows different iterations of when things were, when the document was made. And so I'm going to go in here, I'm going to go click on the original one that I did a few hours ago, and you'll see it brings up a new document that's got, it's going to be coming in a read-only version, and the usefulness of this, I'll give it a second to pop up, but the usefulness is that it means that I'm not going to start forking the file. I'm not going to end up with a different version, and it's hard to figure out where people are at. So I have the option here to save a copy. I can click in here, and I can copy and paste things if I need to. I can immediately see that the picture here is way different than it was before. I can scan, I can pull out the information that I need if I like to, or I can look at this and be like, you know what, I think I'm okay, I'm comfortable with this. I'm just going to go back to kind of where things were. So I'll go back to the document the way it stands right now, and I can kind of keep working on this and go ahead and go forward. So the one thing you could also do, and we're going to talk about this a little more in a second. So I'll give you an example. Is like if I need to make a note here, actually, yeah, if I need to make a note here, I can easily go and insert a comment. Insert a new comment. I will type in somebody's name. It actually gives me a list of people that I know that I've typically worked with. I'll pick Alan here, and then I'll say, can you double check this paragraph? And then I'll hit send, and what you'll see is that there's a new alert that comes up. And what it tells me is that we've actually not shared this file with Alan yet. And I might not have realized that before. It's kind of like a good step in there to double check, is this a file that really needs to be shared with Alan? Is this something that we want to do? And if it is, it saves us a step in being able to say, it lets you do it right from here to say share and notify, and right away it's out to him and he can go in and take care of what he needs to do. So I'm done with Word for the moment. I'm going to switch over to Outlook to kind of go see where things stand stand with my mail. And what I'm going to go is one of the first things I'm going to see is that my colleague Lydia shared a file with me, and she actually @mentioned me. So this is the other end of the @mention that I just did. This is what you would see. So what it does is it gives me a really useful link to. Let's see. Let's get back. So if I click on this open link, it will take me directly into the document where she mentioned me and where she asked me to check on things so that I could follow up with it. So as I do this, one thing that we're going to find as soon as it gets here is that there's a lot of other stuff going on in this document. It's actually a pretty big file with a whole bunch of data. There's a whole bunch of other comments that are going on, which we'll see in just a second. And it'd be really easy for me to come in here and immediately get lost and not understand exactly where what I need to do. So it really makes it easy by taking me to the exact spot and the exact comment in terms of where the @mention that I clicked on. And as I look at this, it says, can you please look into the jerseys data? And I think, okay, I'll double check to see what's going to go on here. So I'll add a simple filter. I'll come down here. I'll click on jerseys, and now the new alert that I get here is a new feature that we've actually just built in. So I know I've encountered this a lot at work. I'm guessing a lot of you have as well. But sometimes when you go into an Excel file, you come in, especially when there's a lot of data, tons of filters, you come back and you're like, what just happened? This looks nothing like what it was when I left it. And so what this does now is it gives you the option of, do you want to create a view and a filter that's just specific to you, or that you want everybody else to see? And in this case, it's just for me. And so I'm going to filter on the thing. What I'm going to do is get an alert up here that says that I'm in sheet view. As I do that, I'll also get some clues, like the row and column headers are darker. There's this little eyeball down in the tab. And what that all, and even if I look in the top left up here, it says sheet view. And so what it tells me is that I'm the only one that's seeing this, and if there's other people in the file, that it's not going to mess up the views that they have. So I actually happen to be signed in as Lydia as well. And maybe it doesn't want to work. Okay, well, anyways. So if I was signed in as Lydia, I would be able to go and see the table the way it was and the way I had left it. But one of the other cool things about this that I want to show you is that I can actually name this. And so I can name this jerseys. And so now, both I and anybody else can go in and easily toggle back between between this look. So if I had been able to get in as Lydia, Lydia would have this option. She would be able to create another view, and it would show up here, and we could see each other working around without disturbing anything that we're doing. So a really, really helpful tool that makes us be able to work more efficiently and collaboratively. So I'm going to go over to our data types real quick and show you something else that's really cool that we've introduced. It's already been formatted around geographies. We make this super easy to update. Instead of having to track down all this type of information, we kind of go back and forth between them. We can just add new rows, and it'll automatically populate the data. At the same time, we're talking about population and health expenditures. If I want to add in birth rate or a whole host of other information, it'll pull that in as well. So really cool, useful information. Two other tricks I want to show you real quick, and I've got to kind of move along here so I can get to PowerPoint real quick. But we have this new thing called the simplified ribbon. So I don't know if you've been noticing, but the ribbon was a lot more consolidated before. But maybe I'm an Excel junkie. I actually did work in finance in my previous life. So I kind of like seeing all the tools that I have at my disposal. And so I can move before or back and forth between them and get that really unique experience. At the same time, I can go back to that default view, and it's a much cleaner, simpler look that is actually much more comfortable for a lot of people. So let's jump over to PowerPoint real quick. So I can do that from right within here. It's going to be very similar to what we had seen before on the office.com homepage. I'm actually going to go so I'll go to PowerPoint real quick. And I'm going to go into this project update, which is a file that we've started. We haven't had a whole lot of time, been able to spend a whole lot of time on formatting yet. And so we are kind of getting into crunch time here. We got to put together some useful information. We got the title side here. This is really about the water project. And so I want to get this formatted really quickly. And so I'm going to click on this little thing here called Ideas. And so when I click on Ideas, it's going to give me a bunch of choices, just default selections, or else it's going to read the words that I have in here and give me better suggestions. So I can click on this and click on Water Project, and it's going to give me some useful suggestions in terms of images that I could use. I think it's a little bit slow here, being on the floor, but it'll give me we'll try another one. Let's go for water. I'll select this one. We'll kind of move it in. It's going to give me this image in here, which obviously on its own isn't really helpful, but it'll actually figure out different ways to format it and blend it in. And so I can really quickly go in here, and it'll automatically make this look pretty. Move down to the next slide, pick a similar option. It'll actually read the words and talk about communication here. So it gives me a megaphone. Talking about packaging, it comes here. It gives me an option for a box. If I wanted to, I can click on here. It'll give me more icons that I could choose and switch between them. So really, really useful. We go down to the next one. It'll give me some ideas on how to create more beautiful timelines. One of the things that's really cool is if you noticed, I had these listed in number form in terms of the dates. It actually can even just read that and then switch this over into more like a month suggestion. And so it'll give you a whole bunch of different ideas of ways to improve the work and make things way more efficient for you. I actually have started using this all the time because I don't really want to waste too much time on formatting. It becomes a bit of a time suck for me. But a really, really good tool. And these are also built on artificial intelligence. And so it sees what's going on and it keeps getting better every day. So I'm going to wrap things up here pretty quickly. I didn't get to go over Presenter Coach, but there was a couple things that you've seen recently or at Ignite, and there's been some announcement we did last couple months, so I encourage you to take a look at it. It gives you really good feedback in terms of how you can present better, make sure that your pace is right, that you're not using words that might not be as effective or work that well. So to close, I want to I kind of have a quick list here of some of the things that I showed you today. You'll always just remember that you can get started with office.com. This is something we're really excited about with the web. We really believe that this is going to be a useful part of the future. We are committed to making it a great platform, and it continues to get better every day. So with that, please don't forget to evaluate this session, give us feedback on how we're doing, and I'll stick around for a few questions if you have any. So thank you very much.